Welcome to our ninth lesson of Google Sheets. In this lesson, we are going to learn about how we can import range from spreadsheet to spreadsheet or worksheet to worksheet. Okay, so this is going to be a bit complex, but it is quite easy to do it if you get the hold of it. So I suggest you to watch the video up from the beginning to the end so that you don't miss a part, because if you do, you might face a couple of hassle while doing it yourself. So without any further ado, let's just jump into the lesson so we can learn how we can import ranges from Google Sheets to another. And after this lesson, we're going to learn about how we can import a CVS file into Google Sheets and start working on it. So let's get into Google Sheets. So on my screen, you have a couple of range of data, right? We have this first, last, and ID. Now, what are we going to do to import this range into another one? You can obviously copy it, but what if you cannot copy it? What if there is no copy anymore? And what if you have to use a formula or a function so that you can copy the same thing up to a new range, or let's say make up a new range? But make sure in such a way, because when you copy, when you change the data of the first one, it's not going to change in the second one. So obviously you have to use a function so that when you change the data on the source, okay, on the source is going to be changed on the next ones too. So let's just start knowing how we can do that. You can see we are using our data analysis table. From here, what we're going to do is going to be clicking on the cell where we want to start it from. So the formula or the function which we're going to use is going to be query. Query, open it up by clicking on tab. Now we need is the data, what type of data it is. So the data is going to be all of our columns. So the data is going to be our columns. Okay, or we're just going to select all of these. Okay, so as we have our column, I'm going to press on comma, and I'm going to press on space, and we're going to put in our query, what type of query it is. So in query, we're going to put in select. Okay. And here, instead of closing our parentheses or even our quotation, I'm going to put in a star, space and a star, and then close off our quotation and close off our parentheses. And after that, we're going to hit on enter. You can see the whole thing has been put together right over here, right? So this is like basically very simple to do. So we have our first, last, and up till over here. Control X, paste it over here. Now, when you click on this, you will basically see the formula or the function which is being used. Now, I'm going to do is copy the same thing, Control C, and paste it right over here. We copied it, right? Let's say I'm going to use this. Check it out. Rainer, hit on enter. So instead of Rainer, what if we put, let's say, Harvey? When I hit on enter, you can see Harvey on both of these tables, Harvey, these changed, but not the copied one. So when you want to save time by updating a name or updating a specific cell, I would suggest you to use this importing range type of process or this function, which is going to be query. Let's say I'm going to do is instead of Harley, I'm going to change it up and put in Quinn. Hit on enter, and you can see the Quinn has changed, but not Harley over here, which has been copied. So this basically saves you a lot of time. Let's say I'm going to do is put in another text over here. Let's say I'm going to put in Thompson. You can see Thompson has been put over here. Thompson, Arnold. I'm going to put in the data too. See? Everything has been done. Eventually, if I even use a formula and use the sum, I'm going to click on tab, and I also have this over here. But instead of this, I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this. I'm going to have the whole cell. I'm going to sum it up. Equal sum. Okay, I'm going to click on this again. Sum. I'm going to select the whole cell. Close the parentheses and hit on enter. Now I have the value, and also it has been done over here. So now you know how you'll be able to do it, are able to use query. But instead of the query, there are other methods of how you can use a specific cell. Okay, now what if you want to use a specific column? So first things first, I'm going to click on over here instead of select and that, what I'm going to do is going to be, instead of this star, I'm going to put in, let's say, which columns you want to use. Let's say I want to use only the A and C cell. I'm going to put in A and a comma, put in a space, and put in C. Hit on enter. Then you only have the first and the third one. See? So even if you put a change over here, it's not going to be put because we are not representing our second cell or our second command or our second column. We are only representing our first column and our third column, which is A and C. Now you know how it basically works. Now, let's say I want the result of a specific person. So what if I want a specific person? So I'm going to be putting in another command. So after C, first I'm going to select this. And here, I'm going to putting in where A is a specific person. So after C, I'm going to do is click on over here, C. And here, I'm going to do is put in a space. I'm going to put in where. I'm going to put in A, basically A, where our name is, where A equal. I'm going to put in the specific name. Let's say I have David. I'm going to put in equal, double quotation, David, ID. I'm going to hit on enter. And this is going to give me a formula phrase error. But what you're going to do is going to putting in an AND so that you get more of them all together, because we need two of them at the same time. And obviously you're going to put in double quotation at the end. So here, what we're going to do is going to be clicking on over here instead of our double quotation. Let's say I'm going to do is where David. I'm going to close this off, or another bracket. I'm going to do is, let's use a single one over here, just on this case, David. And I'm going to put in AND. Okay, you have to put an and C equal the C column, basically, equal, let's say, double quotation. Or let's say where you want to put in a specific person or a specific name. Okay, let's say instead of the C, where we can just keep it like this, but let's say instead of that, I can put in a couple of numbers, right? You can put in a specific one. Or I'm going to do is try cutting this off. And let's try using this double quotation. Now you can see it has given me only the Davids where it is. You can see David has been used 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now what if I say that I want a specific one too? Let's say there are 2 types of Davids. One is female and one is going to be male. So what if it is going to be like this? Now what I'm going to do is going to be terming C at this time right now. So there are 1 female, 1 male. So I'm going to do is turn another one to be male. Okay. Control C. I'm going to select on another David. And I'm going to do is remove it. And basically I need 2 as an answer, right? Now I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this first one. D, A David. And here I'm going to do is put in the AND. And C as a female, right? And C equal single quotation, or let's put in male. Male, hit on enter, and you can see that I don't have any value over here, right? Because there are, let's say, 1 and 2, because we are putting in C, okay? So here in C, I have 2 male, and it is not giving me any answer right now, because here we have A and C. Now, what I'm going to do is going to be doing a bit different over here. Let's say I'm going to type in enter, and we don't have any value. So it is male. I'm going to do is going to be typing in, let's say I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to use or try using male again. Here we have C and also B. If it is not working, then there are a couple of problems going on with this specific cell. We have this AND, equal, comma, and also the last one which we used. Well, sometimes it gives you an error but most of the time it's going to give you a specific answer, okay, when you are using the gender. Let's say I'm going to use or type in this gender over here. Here we have our gender. Now I'll be typing in the same formula again. Here I'm going to do is put in the exact same area where we're going to change it. Okay, so I'm going to do is going to be typing in the same formula, or instead of here I'm going to put in a space in between them if it works. First gender, then we have is David. If we have it over here, we have David over here, and also David over here. So we basically need 3 of them, right? We have 3 of them, but yet only 1 is working. So A, we have select A, and then C, where A equal, let's say David, and C equal male. So I'm going to do is copy this exact same value, Control C, select on over here, I paste it right off over here. It's still not giving me the exact answer. So this is basically how you find out the the data. Let's try and putting in a bit more. I'm going to do is cut this off, and here A David, C is equal male. I'm going to do is hit on enter. Now you can see that we have our answer. So sometimes there is an error in the Google Sheet, so you have to be aware of that. Now what we're going to do is going to be taking our exact sheet to another new spreadsheet which we're going to make. Then how are you going to do that? So we're going to open up another untitled spreadsheet over here. Now to take out the data, we're going to use the function called import range. Import, and we're going to select on range. We're going to select on this. The first thing you're going to need is going to be spreadsheet URL. So first I'm going to go over here, and here what I'm going to do is going to be selecting the number, okay, after spreadsheet and before edit. So I'm going to do is going to be clicking on and selecting this over here, Control C. I'm going to do is pasting it with a double quotation over here because you're going to be needing that. So you don't have to worry about it because you have to put in between. So I'm going to do is press on this double quotation. Then what I'm going to do is going to be, let's say the next one is going to be inside of a comma, and then the range string. Instead of the range string, what you're going to do is put in a space and put in double quotation, and make sure which one you're using. This is example 3, and make sure this is case sensitive. So I'm going to type in example 3, double quotation, comma, or you can put in or close off the parentheses, hit on enter. Now you can see it will look like this. What we're going to do is you don't have permission. So what we're going to do is going to be clicking on learn more, and then you're going to give the access. Okay, so you're just going to give the access, and that is basically how it's going to work. So I'm going to do is click you don't have permission to access that spreadsheet. So I'm going to do is give the access to the specific one. Okay, now what we're going to do is going to be giving access. So if you want to give access to yourself, you're just going to go off to a specific range or specific settings. So I'm going to click on learn more, give yourself the access which you need. So after you give your access, you'll basically see that it will give you the access and also show you the same method or show you the same way how it basically works. You can see it's given me the reference error. So I'm going to do is going to be giving the access over here. After you give yourself the access, you'll basically see that all of the data which you had in your specific sheet will all appear right over here. So this is basically how it works. Okay, so now you know how you can import your range and import data from one sheet to another without facing any problems. So now let's move on to our next lesson, where we will be able to import our data from CSV to use in Google Sheets. So without any further ado, let's just jump into that lesson.